For so many players, their experience with a new fighting game starts with the story mode. This is to get a general sense of the universe, the characters they're fighting with, and the reasons why they're fighting. It also provides a baseline for movement, abilities, and just the general atmosphere of the game you're going to be playing. Sure, story modes in fighting games are rather the tip of the iceberg. Proper fun happens in the multiplayer modes, and quite often, almost always, you cannot take playing patterns from CPU story-driven matches to unpredictable interactions with another human being. But still, this introduction to a new game through its story is a wonderful tradition, and we love it. That's why we've decided to revisit good memories and rank the stories of fighting games. Usually, rankings start from something bad and move to good. Please get us right. Bad stories are a part of bad games, and we don't talk about them here. So let's start with some good ones and then move up to the best ones. Let's go. In theory, everything is perfect in the world of light. It's a vast area with many fights, unlockable lands, and RPG elements built around those spirits. You have great reasons to explore new characters and experiment with the game. Playing the adventure mode in Smash Ultimate is simply fun. Why is it intense though? This huge amount of opponents delivers kind of an inconsistent mix of difficulty. At one moment, it's just a button mashing match, which might be satisfying, but it teaches you nothing about the actual game. At the next moment, it's a frustrating level of toughness, which is supposed to force you to take a different character and explore new aspects. If you don't do that, you throw yourself at the wall again and again. And such difficulty spikes are not really that fun. And what if I only love Pikachu? The story is so basic that we have nothing to talk about. Save the world. We did it before, and we'll do it again. But these complaints are not ultimate. You see what I did there? It's just a nice little thing to have in your substantially bigger experience with SSBU. Chronicles and Under Night In-Birth are quite unique for the fighting genre. This is basically a visual novel where you notoriously read dialogues from the points of many characters. Patience is needed to make it through them. In the beginning, this world feels like a mess around a weird mystic phenomenon, but then it hooks you and you start enjoying the process. Okay, you may start, as this style is obviously not for everyone. The arcade runs expand the Chronicle episodes, and they should come together to give the player a full picture of events. You'll find here a more traditional fighting game approach. It's enjoyable and helps develop basic skills with these fighting mechanics. Only the Eltnum episode feels like having an unfair boss, Hyde, and she actually warns about this, asking you not to throw your controller. The story is fascinating, especially if you're an anime fan, but it's rather niche with so many dialogues to read. So in 9th place comes Under Night In-Birth. Skullgirls tells its story in the traditional arcade-like style, with a mix of dialogues and fights. It's pretty good and nicely reflects the general awesomeness of the game. The idea of an overpowered Skullgirl that loses her mind and gets trapped by Skullheart and the promises this artifact makes, yeah, it's pretty deep. Each character tells the story from a new angle and brings their unique individuality into the experience. Those parasites open interesting abilities in both fighting movesets and character adventures. One thing does not feel right here, at least for beginners to the game. It's difficulty spikes again. I know, I already see you guys in the comments saying that we need to get better and it's not like watching a movie. Get some skills and figure it out. Am I hinting at a bit of FGC toxicity? Well, it's an obstacle a player has to overcome to become a better version of themselves. But it just puts Skullgirls in 8th place. That's it. However epic the story is with that throwing another kid from the cliff and ruling a huge corporation in the middle of a global war thing is, it doesn't feel coherent while you're actually playing it. Even having many hours with other Tekken games doesn't necessarily help to make sense of the Mishima saga and character episodes. Still, it's not only about the story, right? This mode in Tekken 7 introduces the atmosphere of this series pretty nicely. Its main goal is to make you play different characters during one adventure. Maybe you will feel the vibes of your future main and will stick to them forever and ever. The difficulty spike. Does it have to be in every story mode? Those tigers of Kazumi are so deeply annoying. The final fight against Kazuya and Devil Kazuya? No, please, I don't want to have nightmares. But still, this scale of epicness and a peek into that amazing world, they carry the Tekken 7 story to number 7. Speaking of nightmares, no, I'm not jumping to a character guide here. I just could not stop myself from making this reference to our Tekken part. These games are made by one company, but their fates are so different. Tekken is easily the favorite, while Soul Calibur... Is Soul Calibur 7 out yet? We play Soul Calibur's Libra of Soul mode in 6th because it is actually a very interesting adventure. Travel around the world, choosing your path, unlocking areas. This sounds somewhat like Smash, to be honest, but with the option to customize your characters and their weapons. There are also arcade episodes in addition to the RPG adventure, and it's also good, even if not as remarkable. We need to highlight some downsides at this point too. They come in the form of the comparisons from other games placed higher on our list. This is such a great gift for Dragon Ball fans. We have an original story with a unique character, designed by Akira Toriyama himself. Wow, sometimes it feels like watching anime episodes. Sometimes you dive deeply into the fights, managing team health and experimenting with putting fighters in different positions. Sure, those DBFZ computer opponents don't offer the best challenge. It's not even about the difficulty, but at some point, the story arcs jump to making mashing super dash and auto combo your best option. Yes, the best option for beginners. Multiplayer fights are different, but that's the case for every fighting game story mode. DBFZ lands in 5th, because if you're not really a fan of the series, you may not reach the same level of excitement. It's still very, very good though. World Tour feels fresh and innovative within the Street Fighter series, but actually, the idea of RPG story modes is not brand new. Even in this list, we have Smash and Soul Calibur with similar vibes. At the same time, well, Street Fighter 6 has done it better. That's why we rank the World Tour 4th. The story is not that mind-blowing though. It's more about exploring the locations, interacting with NPCs, and learning how to fight. This part in Street Fighter 6 is certainly great. There's no impression of playing a tabletop game and moving your figure from one spot to another. Playing World Tour feels a lot like playing big-scale RPGs. The classic arcade story episodes are also here. They give more context to the characters, but let's just say if we did not have the World Tour mode, there would be some serious doubts about adding Street Fighter 6 to the list. The cutscenes are kind of confusing, and the story is not too impressive. We have even created special video episodes on DashFight's channel to help people understand what happened in Street Fighter. This nicely highlights how complex the original storytelling in the series is. Here we have an impressive story. Superheroes stop to be all good and fluffy and reveal their dark side, full of violence and even madness. Supervillains have no limitations at all and explode with their horrible tendencies. No, we're not going to reveal the plot or any spoilers here. You need to explore it for yourself because it is really good. It's whirling around comic book characters though, which is a double-edged sword. A lot of fans consume everything about Superman, Batman, and their friends and enemies, while many people are openly indifferent to those universes. This is somewhat a downside, but it's not mighty enough to place Injustice 2 lower than 3rd place. And the fights are alright too. The people over at NRS know how to weave educational moments into cinematic stories. Could we add something more controversial than the Guilty Gear story mode? Everything is so perfect with the story. It's weird, it feels like it should be an anime game, but you don't need to read through all the extra materials in the game to enjoy the process and eventually make some sense out of it. In fact, the whole weirdness and chaos of this story is rather inevitable for getting to know the personalities of these characters. The problem and the advantage here is that you don't really have to play the fighting game. This is an anime show, and all you need to do is relax and watch. How did Guilty Gear Strive reach 2nd place then? The struggle of keeping a balance between educational aspects of story modes in fighting games and their purpose of telling a story, this balance is not easy to find and keep. And instead of looking for it, the developers just gave it a pure story, keeping the fighting part to the arcade mode. It feels like a brilliant decision. And here we are with arguably the most epic story in the whole fighting game genre. It's NRS baby, so naturally the quality level is beyond any doubt. In fact, Mortal Kombat is the original thing for the developers, and they are not limited to backgrounds of comic book heroes. MK1 continues the tradition of cinematic adventures with quite logical interference of fighting matches. The idea of reimagining this universe by resetting the timeline and reshaping fates and personalities of iconic characters, wow, that's bold. Because many longtime series keep the previous installments as a sort of baggage that prevents them from fresh visions. Not Mortal Kombat. The fights also play their role quite well. You obviously need to dive much deeper into those combos with cameo fighters, a strong focus on aerial moves, and many other aspects. The MK1 story delivers a taste of playing these characters and from mastering them. You need a lot of practice, and perhaps some extra help from the many pro guides at DashFight. Visit our platform and check them out. We give the award. Is this an award? Do we have an award? Yes, we give this first place to the story mode in Mortal Kombat 1. It's really worth playing. And truly, every game and story in this video is worth playing. We don't want to force our ideas onto people, but prefer sparking the conversation and sharing experiences. What do you think of our story modes listed here? And what do you think of their placements? And what would you recommend to the community? Let us know in the comments. And be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.